Sa pagkasunog sa Pinoy-anan namo, dito migi dala sa makanhan sa covered court. Naman ko'y duha ka dalaga. Ako pod nakita na ako nga maglisod sila og ilis bitaw. Kay wala may nakasalipod. Ug ang pagkatulog pod, naara sila din ha, malabay-labayan ra sa mga lalaki. Wala gyud privacy ang among kinabuhi ato nga time.
Usar rami dito kay usar man ang gramuram siya function hall ang ibabaw. Ang tapok rami tanan, dikit-dikit ng tanan pamilya, dikit rami gid. Igora na mo butangan sa mong gamit nga murag boundary na mo sa mong abay na mga silingan.
Ug nabalaka pod ko sa sitwasyon sa akong pamilya kay kato nga time grabe para ba ang COVID ato mao pagsugod yun sa COVID dayon. Nahadlok ko sa seguridad sa akong pamilya ba naara ba ko'y apo. Mahadlok ko matakdan sila.
Sila mo ka pamilya nagpuyo.
The Moving Urban Poor Communities in Mindanao Towards Resilience Project is an urban resilience project aimed at contributing to the resilience building of urban poor populations to withstand and manage the impact of disasters. It seeks to strengthen the urban disaster preparedness, response, and management capacity of the national, subnational, and local government units and stakeholders through the adoption and/or replication of tested urban resilience strategies.
Kamo diri taas ang high risk sa pagbaha, no? Posible kung mag-abot ang pagbaha, posible sa katuig ka isa mahitabo, sumadislokar jud mo. No, isa ka mo
The project is currently being implemented in select cities and provinces in Mindanao.
We have 80 barangays, 44, 45 ana ang flood prone. Most of our evacuation centers are on flood-prone areas. So, ang pagsulod sa Air Accord Move Up project, dako kay tabang, it's because nagkatag sila idea sa amoa in terms of helping our ganing plano to improve ang among camp management during disasters. Kay among nakita na dili lang kang sendong, but after atong mapila ka typhoon, mao jud ang challenge nato no, ang evacuation center.
The alternative temporary shelter is a range of substitute solutions that intend to immediately address the shelter needs of affected populations in the initial stages of disasters, to guarantee human dignity and sustain family and community life. In 2020, the project released a manual to consolidate and document key information, learnings, and development about ATS systems. Principally made for local government units, the 100-page manual aims to describe the importance and practical applications of the ATS system and offers a step-by-step guide on properly adopting and implementing select ATS solutions as a form of shelter response and early actions during emergencies.
Isa ka adlaw niabot ang move up team.
Nangutana sila doon sa mga pag-abot nila kung unsay among mga pinginahanglan. Naglibog pa mi permiro kay iyang pangutana silang Sir J nangutana sila. Sir, unsay maging yung mga panginahanglan, sir? Sabi ko, permiro among tubag kay nangawala ba among mga gamit no. Kani among mga kaldero, mga pagkaon, ginamit nila siya. Aside pagida na sir, unsay inyong mga panginahanglan? Wala ako kakuha dito kung sa iyang gusto ikuan nga unsa mong panginahanglan. Pero pag sunod na nilang balik, ila nang explain nga ila ming tukuran o temporary nga shelter. Ila din ming kuan nga kami mo tabang og install adtong tong ilang gibuhat nga temporary shelter.
Dito tinabangay ming tanan mga tao dito. Napagyo ito'y among silingan nga PWD. Nitabang gyud siya sir paghakot sa kanang tubo, gibutang niya sa iyang wheelchair sa ilalom. Gibutang gyud niya ang matubo dito para mahakot ang tubo dito paingon sa site bitaw. Ako pod gitestingan po na ako pagtaod sa mga bolt para makatabang jud ko. Nagtry jud ko nga unsa ako mabuhat bilang pasalamat nga ilang ming gibuhatan ato nga shelter. mga pila ka days, dali ra kay namo na human ang temporary shelter tungod sa pagdinabangay.
The 2020 ATS manual is intended for new and experienced users. With 0 to advanced ATS system and shelter response knowledge. It aims to describe the importance and practical applications of ATS and offer step-by-step guidance on properly adapting and implementing select ATS solutions as a form of shelter response and early action during emergencies. It provides guidance to local government units, civil society organizations, community members, and other stakeholders on addressing the immediate shelter needs of internally displaced populations within a 24-hour to 36-hour period after a disaster. The manual also gives recommendations for long-term displacements and ensures universally accepted humanitarian principles and standards are followed. The manual is a working document that is being updated from time to time.
Beyond that, we also use this facility, especially katong pag-start, I think, with the pandemic sometime last year, nga ang uban nga nagigamit nato sa kanang mga checkpoint, nga katong mga tents and all that, is atong gigamit as shed for those katong kapabakuna at the city hospital.
Sa panahon nga ni surge o ni daghan gyud kaayo ang atong kaso, dako kaayo nga problema apan napangitaan nato kining solusyon dinha sa pagbutang og mga divisions sa atong identified isolation facilities ang ato ang room assignment for symptomatic, non-symptomatic, severe cases. Gidugangan natong partitions, pinaagi pagbutang lamang sa tie wire nga gihimo natong kortina sulod adtong atong move up nga project.
Sa una pagsugod diri na ay mga LSI no tag 5 ka bus moabot diri puno gina siya tanan igo ra sila mo linya diha. So pag abot adtong kuan di-donate nga mga division nagamit namo diha sa gym sa pag-triage.
Kampante namin nga ang mga patient ma-separate na gid sila sa others, labi pa ka ang other patients are infectious, naman po non-infectious nga mabutang diri sa facility, so ma-cohorted na sila.
Ang ATS nato nagamit dayon nato sa ato ang Tandag City Gymnasium, nahatag nato sa mga apektadong pamilya. Dako kaayo kining natabang para ma-isolate nato ang mga taong tan-aw nato dunay exposure because of COVID-19.
Aning ATS nga ilang gihatag sa mo dito may makakuha og idea kung unsay mo fit in every evacuation center. So naay mga designs nga dapat nimong i-adapt mo fit ka po dito sa aning evacuation center.
Nalipay gud kay ko nga gibuhatan gud nila og kanang shelter nga ing ato kay sa ako nga part isip lola na ako'y 3 years old nga apo. Safety na akong pamati kay ako pong mga dalaga makailis na pud sila nga wala bitoy kaba. Then ako pod nakabalik na ko sa akong trabaho, mabiyaan na nako sila kay safety naman akong pamati para sa ila makalakaw na ko para makapaninda dito sa Kugon kay naman dito akong yung trabaho. Naagid sa mga 3 ka bulan mi dito nagpuyo. So napadayon namo among kinabuhi. Murag nabalik sa normal among kinabuhi ba.
Dili naman may mabasa kay naman siya trapal. Mura siya temporary gid na siya nga murag kwarto na siya namo ba. Nagid siya nanay among temporary nga portahan. Kato kay sirado na makapahulay kay ginsakto kay kampante ko nga akong biyabiyaan ng akong pamilya pangitag kwarta kay na may ilang safety sila matulugan ilang in kaso di ko makauli na sila matulugan ng insakto nga na kay mura kong muuli sa balay gyapon namo kay secure naman ang kuan.
Katong sa primero namo nga sunog naka-experience ko nga akong pamilya matulog ra sa sikad daghan mi na agian nga mga kalamidad sama sa baha. Sa nanang temporary shelter, safety na gyud ang akong pamati. Kinahanglan yun na siya ipadayon, ma'am, kay dako kayong benepisyo para sa mga naka-encounter og mga kalamidad, maka-feel sila og security sa ilang pamuyo, dayon sa ilang panginabuhi, makapadayon sila na ang ilang pamuyo na dignidad ang ilang pagpuyo.
Padayon ni siya kay dili jud enough ang among mga evacuation centers. And with this ATS, pwede man gud siya nimo ibutang bisag sa mga private nga mga lugar bisag atong dili na designated na evacuation centers. Like for example, kaning mga parking lot sa mall. Ang kaning ATS man gud is murag ang iyang mga materials is available local available siya. And bisan gani sa amo ang ginagmay nga kanang budget, makahimo na kag pipila po gyud. Unlike aning naay daghan karon sa market, yes, nindot tan-awon, nindot kan, but ang price is medyo taas gyud siya.
Ang isa sa agreement with the consortium led by Care Accord is kanang makapacitate, not only to capacitate the offices of the city government, but also to institutionalize such like an ATS program na to. So we're happy that Cagayan de Oro is still part of the scaling up of this activity through the Move Up program.
So masudlan na to og 4. Na naman siya partition. Kato nga model gi-introduce nako sa DPWA. Kay akong nakita nga pwede rato nato hipuson para magamit puhon, no? Kay dapat i-maximize nato atong resources. Nga dapat kung natay gihimo nga project ato pang magamit sa umaabot. Wala ta nag-ampo og disasters, but the fact that we should be ready whatever disasters that may come to our province.
Isa kini sa mga considerations nga ato ang mahatagan og saktong pagtagad og mabutang nato sa ato ang local DRR implant nga makahatag ta og saktong budget para makahatag kitag suporta sa ato ang mga local government units nga under sa ato ang EOR.
Kuan motong nakay permiro lagi nga tong pag-iwan niya unsay kinahanglan motong naaya pa ko nakakuha ngani pud ay kinahanglan gid sa mo na wala pud na una-unaan sa uban sa gobyerno nga nung naaday ko ingani nga panginahanglan po dili lang kay ang pagkaon ang mga gamit ang ihatag sa mga biktima sa kuan kalamidad naa pud gid ay may katungod may ngana pud
Nga bisa pag nami sa kalamidad ato nga time isod ka imi nagay nawadaan mi tanan-tanan. Wala ko ni bati og ganang hopeless ba? Wala ko ni bati nga hopeless kaayo ang kinabuhi. Busa dako kayo akong pasalamat sa Accord, sa Move Up team nga wala gyud mi nila kalimti sa mga sponsor. Salamat gyud kaayo. Dako gyud kaayo ni katabang sa amo ang kinabuhi. Bisan pa siguro mawala ko diri sa kalibutan. Hindi na ako kalimtan ang Accord. Salamat jud kaayo.
The different types of alternative temporary shelter were designed to fit specific evacuation conditions, scenarios, and available spaces. Beyond the physical structure, ATS as a system also refers to processes including shelter assessments, adapting appropriate models, procurement and fabrication, deployment, decampment, and warehousing. Positioning of ATS in relation to camp coordination and camp management, such as considering related WASH, accessibility, and gender and disability inclusion requirements. The ATS system is implemented through the ATS system strategy. The following ATS system strategy is developed and honed by Move Up and partners' experiences on planning for and actual deployment of alternative temporary shelters. This ensures that the solutions are context appropriate and effectively addresses any identified gaps. It also helps ensure that resources are maximized. Deploying ATS requires planning and therefore understanding of what type and how many units of ATS should be deployed. Who will it cater to? When and where to deploy them? And how they will be pre-positioned and set up in advance of a disaster. Various participatory tools and methodologies are available to gather key information that are crucial in providing appropriate ATS solutions. Here are examples of these tools that may be used to produce relevant information for ATS planning. Here are data and information that can be gathered and produced and how it is relevant for ATS planning from household profiling and focused group discussions. This will identify populations that will sustain significant damage to their houses, or whose location would put them in harm's way and therefore would require safe temporary shelter assistance. This information is helpful in identifying who are the potential users of ATS and their capacities and vulnerabilities, in order to inform design considerations. For instance, households headed by persons with disability and other vulnerable sectors should have accessible and easily deployable ATS. This information will help determine the appropriate type of ATS to be deployed. This will help identify gaps on ATS and services in evacuation centers. This will identify the most suitable settlement option in accordance with available capacities and spaces in the communities and LGUs. It will identify gaps in terms of space and facilities which will require alternative spaces and provision of facilities. This is done through comparing space required by the number of potentially displaced persons and the facilities available to cater to them. Determine worst-case scenarios to determine appropriate type of ATS and identify suitable location, including open spaces, for deployment. Develop early warning system to which ATS system is integrated to. Each community and LGU have different risks, resources, and capacities. As such, ATS solutions need to be designed based on context-specific requirements. To enable this, LGUs and communities must agree on design criteria considering the result of needs assessment, such as the profile of the potentially displaced population, displacement pattern, and existing evacuation practices among vulnerable communities. Move Up Consortium and the United Architects of the Philippines, Emergency Architects, developed an ATS menu of options consisting of a range of ATS solutions which can be selected according to parameters and categorization such as varying time frames of occupancy, availability and configuration of space, capacities of the local government units investing on ATS, as well as deployment conditions. Communities and local governments may opt to either adopt designs from the ATS menu of options and tailor-fit these designs in their context, such as adjusting dimensions and using locally available materials, or if necessary, design a more applicable ATS. ATS solutions are most effective when integrated with and implemented through appropriate LGU plans and mechanisms such as camp coordination and camp management and contingency plans, and budgeted through local DRRM and annual investment plans, which should all link with each other. Integration of ATS should be done both in the contingency planning process and actual contingency plan, especially in the most ATS-relevant clusters such as CCCM and IDP protection. It is also important to align barangay-level contingency plans with city or municipal-level plans to understand and fill in gaps on temporary shelters. Formulation or updating of contingency plans including camp coordination and camp management plans for ATS solution integration. DRRM planning to ensure ATS solutions are budgeted. Mainstreaming of ATS solutions in longer-term plans, comprehensive development plan to ensure sustainability. Adoption and rollout of ATS including procurement and fabrication. Simulation exercises to test the ATS solutions such as tabletop and community drills. ATS deployment in actual emergency scenarios. This helps determine critical information such as user feedback on appropriateness of ATS structure, materials, and size, accountability and participation of IDPs in design process and implementation, availability of other CCCM services in the evacuation center, and impact of ATS in IDP living conditions. In all ATS deployment monitoring activities done by MoveUp, users report they have improved privacy and rest, safety and security, and protection from heat and rain, among others, as compared to their previous displacement experiences without ATS. These information help improve the CCCM services of communities, barangays, and local governments, which in effect facilitates better turnout for preemptive evacuation. The assessment result of the simulation exercise will help enhance the ATS solutions, as well as the contingency plans and CCCM plans. The vulnerable communities will be informed on ATS and CCCM services, which encourages preemptive evacuation. This will reduce the cost of ATS units by ensuring availability of local fabricators. Representatives from national government agencies and their extension offices will be engaged in discussions, consultations, and dialogues to arrive at a consensus on how to best integrate the ATS solution in existing government strategies, programs, and plans. Using the learning and experience of ATS solution implementation from partner local government units and communities.